Welcome, I'm so glad you all could join me. I'm Chava and you're watching Ask a Midwife. Hello everyone. I welcome you to the next episode of Ask a Midwife. My name is Chavah Benzion. I'm a midwife and a doula, and I started this channel a couple years back, and I'm just getting back into it. So I really appreciate all the comments you've been leaving and the positive encouragement, and that really is very motivating for me to keep going. So please subscribe if you haven't already, and let's get started. Today we're going to be talking about my top tips for a healthy pregnancy. We're going to be talking about some physical things that you can do to help your body have the most healthy pregnancy outcome possible, as well as a good experience, as well as some more mental and emotional things that you can do to prepare yourself and take care of yourself along the way. So let me talk about the things that I recommend to my pregnant clients in terms of taking care of themselves physically during the pregnancy. The number one thing in pregnancy is to rest. We're not the same person that we were before we got pregnant. Our requirements for rest go way up, and you'll notice from the very beginning of the pregnancy that you're tired, and that's because your body is creating a child, creating a person. So that extra rest, going to bed earlier, sleeping in a little bit later, and also you're going to feel that your nights are punctuated by frequent trips to the bathroom. So you're going to need to start earlier and try to sleep in a little bit longer or take naps. Women in the beginning of pregnancy find that this is really challenging. And if you've always been a really energetic person, that need to sleep and need to lie down and rest can be really hard. So that's the number one thing that women need to concentrate on, is sleeping and resting during that first trimester as well as throughout the pregnancy. The second thing is eating, right up there with sleeping. In our birth center practice, we take care of a lot of pregnant clients. And at the same time, I'm taking care of people long distance. I'm doing consulting work throughout the world. And the common thread is that typically women aren't eating enough food, or they're not eating frequently enough. So one of the most important tips for having a healthy pregnancy from day one is frequent eating. And you want to be eating small amounts of protein and carbohydrates throughout the day. So I would say every 1.5 to 2 hours in the beginning of the pregnancy, and towards the end, and in the middle of the pregnancy, at least every 2 to 3 hours, you want to be eating protein and carbohydrates, lots of vegetables, some fruit, and really try to limit any sugar or refined flours. And that's gonna help your baby grow strong and healthy, as well as help run your body. And it is a very difficult thing. So I'm just validating the experience that you might be having. If you're having trouble eating is now like a medicine. So I really want to encourage you to eat well as well as you can throughout the pregnancy. You need to hydrate every day. I recommend between 2 and 3 liters as a minimum. If you're a larger woman, a larger amount of water is required to keep you going and to keep your systems running. If you're a very petite woman, I think you could get away with 2 liters to 2.5 liters on a daily basis, just depending on what your general activity level is. So if you're an active person and you're on the go a lot, you're going to need a higher level of fluid per day. But if you're more sedentary and you don't burn off that water, then you're going to need more of the minimum. But I would say anywhere from 2 to 3 liters a day. It's not easy. It's difficult to get it. It takes practice. Sometimes I suggest adding a little lemon juice with the water, something to give it a little taste. Not too much juice, but you can add a small amount of a fruit juice just to flavor it, to be able to drink it more easily. So right up there with sleep, food, water is exercise. In the beginning of the pregnancy, I don't really emphasize exercise, because in the beginning of the pregnancy, the first trimester is a very low energy time. And so if women have exercised up until the beginning of the pregnancy and they want to continue and they have the energy to, I recommend really moderating that exercise Don't do anything too strenuous because it's really a time of rest. And but as you feel your energy coming back, I think that regular walking, I suggest and advise, encourage walking for all of my pregnant clients every day. And if not every day, I would say at least 4 to 5 times a week for an hour each. Or you can do, 2 times for half an hour, sometimes in the morning and in the evening. Encourage the partner to go with, and try to enjoy it and build it into your day as an integral part of your day. It's really healthy. And if you do other things as well, like swimming, hiking, those upright, cardio, but not too strenuous. If you've already been exercising up until the pregnancy and you have a routine that you do, that's okay to keep going, but just in moderation. Pregnancy isn't really the time to start a new type of exercise unless it's a structured prenatal type of exercise, like prenatal water exercises or prenatal yoga, things like that, where you have instruction in order to be able to know exactly what's okay and not okay. But in general, walking is the most, is the easiest and the most helpful kind of regular physical exercise that pregnant women can be getting. And it's really important for the body's systems to be running correctly, for the position of the baby, for the endorphins. It's a stress reliever. It also brings up the level of endorphins in the body, which is a pain reliever. It's there's multiple benefits to exercising. So those are my top 4 recommendations for keeping physically healthy during the pregnancy: is exercise, rest, eating, and drinking water. Those are very basic human needs. And I notice, and the reason why I'm saying it right now to you all is because I notice that those things are very, very difficult to do, especially when you're, trying to adjust to what it feels like to be pregnant and how to care for yourself. And you have a lot of other things on you, and work and family, and it's stressful. So those things will help you immensely. So next I want to talk a little bit about the not so physical things that are still really, really important to build into your pregnancy routine and to stay aware of in pregnancy to maximize your health and well-being and enjoyment during your pregnancy. So number 1 would be finding a care provider for your pregnancy care and your birth care that you trust and feel comfortable with. And that should be someone you can ask questions to. That should be someone that you feel respected by and heard by, and you should be able to contact this person with ease. It shouldn't be extremely difficult to get a hold of your care provider. And those are just a few things. If you want, you can watch my other video. I have a video on communicating with your care provider, and that should give you some insight as to what I think is important in terms of a care provider. And I don't like to say patient, I like to say client, a care provider and client relationship. That's in my other video. But in general, finding a care provider that you feel comfortable with is very important, because you're going to probably have questions from day 1. Which brings me to my next point about what's important in terms of maintaining your emotional, mental well-being in the pregnancy is knowing where to get information that's going to help you and empower you and help you to feel safe, and limiting fear, and that would be limiting the internet searches and reading the pregnancy forums. I find that more harm than good comes when a woman uses the pregnancy forums online and and Facebook forums online. It depends which one. To get the information that she needs in terms of answers to her questions. It's very damaging to Google problems in pregnancy, because what happens is there's a few things. She ends up comparing herself to other women. She ends up comparing her situation to other women. She ends up reading horror stories, and she ends up building fear. And that is really, really toxic to her pregnancy, and it's really, really harmful to her own well-being. So I would really encourage you to limit or at least adjust the way you Google information online. That you, if you want to look up a certain issue, you can read about that certain issue, but you should have someone that you can talk with who knows you specifically, who can give you more specific, personalized insight. And books are more, I think, helpful because you choose books that have the tone that you want and the energy that you want to bring into your own pregnancy. So there are some amazing books out there. And depending on what you're needing, if you're needing encouragement or whatnot, there are specific books targeted to that. And I really encourage you to look for books that reflect your outlook rather than just Googling. Because I see a lot of women come into the practice and they're like, oh, I just read this online, or it's so scary and this thing happened. And why am I experiencing this when all these other women are saying, even just the other day, I had a client come in and say, wow, she was after the birth, she said, wow, it seems like everyone I read about, their babies are all sleeping through the night at, 2 months of age. And my baby wants to, nurse all night. And maybe there's something wrong with me. Maybe there's something wrong with the way that I'm doing it, or maybe there's something wrong with my baby. And we're trying to reassure her, there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with your baby. This is what babies do at 2 months of age. They want to wake frequently and feed frequently, and that's not unusual. But the problem comes when you're comparing yourself to what other women are experiencing. And you don't ever know the whole story. You don't ever know the bigger picture when you're reading stories online like that. So another thing that I see women really struggling with is the need to ask for help. I think it's very hard, especially, in modern day society where you're really, you're accomplishing a lot every day, and you can multitask, and you can take care of your house and your job and your kids and yourself, and then you become pregnant, and it's much harder to do those basic things. You're more tired, you have other needs. And so the difficulty for most people, and I see it for many years now, in asking for help, it's really challenging, and it needs to be addressed, and you need to be able to, confide in someone that you know and trust and say, listen, I need help. And it's hard for me to ask. And so I'm starting with you, and I'd like to practice what it feels like to ask you for help. So I'd like to say, will you help me with this certain thing? Maybe will you pick up some groceries for me on your way home? Or can you pick up my other child from school today and bring him home to your house, and he can play for a couple hours? You need to practice the art of asking for help, because as you grow through your pregnancy, you're going to need a little bit more help. When you're a new mom, you're going to need a little bit more help. And so it is an important and honorable, and it's an honorable thing to be able to do, to ask for help. It means you have self-respect. Nobody can accomplish everything. And so when you ask for help, you're actually demonstrating to those in your circle that it's okay to ask for help, and we're here for one another, and people like to help. That's the other thing, is people will like to help you. They want to help you. There are so many important things. I'm probably not going to get to everything right now, but asking for help, finding a care provider, very, very important. Read books instead of Googling. Talking to your baby. Talking to your baby, I think, is one of the most valuable things that you can do for your own well-being during the pregnancy. You're doing it to connect to your baby. You're also doing it for your baby. You're doing it for yourself. A lot of times when women talk to their baby, when we talk to our baby, we are talking to ourselves a little bit. And so it's nice. And what I encourage women to do is go into a place that's private and really talk to your baby out loud. And sometimes women say, yeah, I do talk to my baby, but you're doing it quietly. Maybe you're kind of doing it in your head. But what I really encourage is, lay there comfortably, sit there comfortably, put your hand on your belly, and really speak to your baby. You can tell your baby, obviously all the things you want your baby to know, like you're so excited for your baby, you can't wait to meet your baby. But I'm talking about the other things, like, I'm afraid. Am I going to be a good mother? Will I have enough love for you in addition to loving my other children? Will I be able to handle it? Like, I'm talking about those things that are hard to say, like if you got scared and you could say to your baby, you're feeling right now that mom got afraid, that I feel afraid right now, and it's okay, we're going to be okay. But I'm talking about really like a running honest, authentic dialogue with your baby. It's really important because we put a lot on ourselves. Like, I have constantly women calling me and writing me like, I felt sad today and I cried. Is that going to make my baby stressed? Or, I got scared today. Is my baby going to feel my anxiety? Have I done something wrong to my baby? We're really, really sensitive to, our emotions and concerns that our emotions are going to affect our baby. And what I think it's more important is to demonstrate authenticity and honesty to our children. Like, they're not going to come into a world where no one ever feels sad or scared or worried or insecure. And it's really important that they know that, we're okay, even though we feel sometimes these negative emotions and positive emotions, but I'm really talking about the ones that are difficult to speak about. So I'm saying in terms of engendering and fostering honesty to your newborn baby and your child, and your, while he's still in your belly, even, is just to be able to have kind of a running, honest dialogue. It's really important in terms of building emotional IQ for the baby, their emotional intelligence, and being able to talk about their feelings. And it's really good. It's a great processing tool. So that is one of the most important things that I would suggest to women. And another thing is to laugh a lot. Okay, we might not be currently in a time in our lives or in the world where we feel there's a whole lot to laugh about, but truly, truly, if we could find reasons to be happy, and even for small things, and laugh at jokes or even comedy, or make each other laugh, our stress level is automatically reduced and our endorphin level is automatically raised, and we feel good. We have good feelings when we laugh, and those good feelings go to our baby, and that baby feels like, oh, this is an okay place to be. So laughing a lot, feeling joy, if you had two choices and one would bring you more joy, I would say, pregnant women, do the thing that's going to bring you more joy. It's very important. And I think the last thing that I'm going to deal with in this particular video, because there are so many things that I want to give over to you, is that accept your limits. When we accept that we can't do everything all the time for everyone, we can't accomplish all of our goals, we shift over into a more real place. Accepting your limits is something that you're going to be forced to do anyway as you become a mother or you add another child to your family. Your limits are to the right and to the left at all hours of the day, and it's really it's an exercise in loving yourself. When you say, you know what, I'm not going to be able to do that. I'm going to have to say no to that. I'm going to have to say, I'm sorry, I can't accomplish that right now. I'm sorry to you. I'm sorry to myself, whatever it is. You're going to say, that's too much for me to handle. I can't take on that responsibility right now. We're starting to understand what it means to say no, because when you're saying no, you're saying yes to your own well-being. You're saying yes to your equilibrium. You're saying yes to your ability to actually sit down at the table and have a meal. If you can't run an errand, because in fact, if you ran that errand, you would be able to cook a nice meal for yourself. And so starting to accept what you can't do is a very, very difficult, extremely difficult, painful. Like, it feels like a terrible tragedy to some people that they have to accept that they can't accomplish what they used to be able to accomplish. And so I just want to reiterate, it's okay to accept your limits. It's okay to feel bad about that. It's okay to feel a certain sense of grief. And that is a part of what it means to become a mother. And you're doing the highest priority task right now, which is growing your child. And so you're eating, you're drinking, you're sleeping, you're exercising a little bit. That's priority. You're reading literature that's going to empower you and give you the information you need, and you're not spending time, falling down the pregnancy internet rabbit hole. Very damaging. You're surrounding yourself with people and care providers that reflect what you want out of your pregnancy, and you're talking to your baby about your excitement and happiness, as well as your fears and possibly your anxiety. You're laughing a lot. You're bringing joy into your life. You're accepting your limits. And these are things that no matter if it's your first pregnancy or if it's your 10th pregnancy, no matter if you're 20 years old or if you're 40 years old or anywhere in between, no matter if you're working or you're staying at home, whatever it is these things apply to you, and they will enhance your health. They will enhance your emotional well-being throughout the pregnancy, as well as into the even more difficult raising of your children phase. And overall, they're just going to bring you into a more balanced place in your life, and you will never ever master those things. So don't just think, okay, when I got that down, I got that down. You will be getting it down for the rest of your life, but knowing that it's a priority for you is really key. So I wish you the best of luck. And I was just also want to share with you that I am also doing those things in my life. I'm also trying to work every day to accomplish those things. So we're all human and we're all doing it. And I hope that was helpful for you. I hope I hope my message came across to you with the love and intention that I'm really trying to send out to you. So pray for me. I'm really going to try to put more videos out. It's been difficult during COVID because it doesn't ever feel like there's a quiet space in the house or anywhere really for that matter to just sit and talk and film. And I have 4 children of my own, so it's busy. In a busy midwifery practice. And I just want to also let you know that for those women, so for those of you out there who are like, wow, I wish I had a care provider that would listen to me. I wish I had someone that I could just ask my more maybe mundane questions to and just have the time to sit and talk and understand, oh, okay, that's what that test is for. I didn't really understand that. This is what my doctor said. I just wish I had that. I just want to let you know that I don't have a lot of time, but I do some distance consulting. So that means that you would, we would get on the Zoom call for anywhere from half an hour to an hour, and you would be able to sit with me and I would hear what you need from me and what kind of advice you need. And we would do a little class, maybe a prenatal class or a birth class, and you'd be able to ask me all your questions. So I do offer that service, and you can just send me a little message and let me know what you need. Okay? So once again, please subscribe and show me some support. Leave a message, what you liked and what you'd like to see in future videos. Thanks again. Bye-bye.